What's up, everybody? Just a little out and about, and I wanted to do a little talk here. Maybe you guys might understand where I'm coming from. Hold on, let me get this pocket of air in my ear out. Okay. So, yeah, I get on this radio station, K-Talk, 1640 AM in Sandy, Utah. I usually call SP Romney, and most of the time, if I don't bring up topics that don't irritate him, he'll let me talk for a while and stuff, like he does anyone. But it's pretty funny because the other night I brought up a totally reasonable idea for casinos, and instead of him trying to say, well, he goes, they already do that. I said, no, they don't. And what I'm referring to is auto markers. Auto markers would be an idea that I came up with for casinos to charge you like $1,000 to $5,000 up front, so that you have to pay, depending on the deal you get. If it's just $1,000, you don't get as much free stuff. But you also, but you will get extra benefits that the casinos typically don't offer to anyone. Okay? And he goes, well, they already do that. I'm trying to explain to him, that's not what I'm talking about, the freebies. I'm not just talking about the freebies. I'm talking about an auto marker, so that if you go to Vegas and you want everything for free, the flight, all the food you eat for an entire week, and shows and everything, but everything, nothing you have to pay for, then you have to pay $5,000 up front. Now, when I say that, I don't mean you just pay them $5,000 to the casino. You pay them $5,000, and if you go sit at a blackjack table, you have $5,000 right off the bat. And you take it all, you put it on the table, and you go through $6,000 or $5,000 in chips. And if you go through $5,000 in chips, whether you lose, which is mostly going to be the case, or you win, as long as you went through $5,000 in chips, or let's say you were playing a machine, $5,000 on a machine, then, you know, you get all those amenities. And you get all those amenities when you return to Las Vegas at a later date. But to get the auto marker, you have to request that. See, markers are used when people are losing. When people go to the casino and then they lose a lot of money, markers are then used so they don't have to make a trip to the bank and stuff like that. Okay? All right, so my auto marker idea is original. And what it would do, it would kind of alleviate a lot of the people that go to Las Vegas just to gawk at everything and stare at everything. Because that's a real problem in Las Vegas. People just go there, they don't gamble, they just walk around, they don't do anything. And even Steven admitted that's what he does. And I said, well, that's what an auto marker is for. It's so they can diagnose who's going to be a guaranteed spending $5,000. And he said, well, you keep repeating yourself, it's boring. I go, dude, you're not acknowledging. And he goes, no, they already do that. He said, I'll say it again. He kept saying that. I said, okay then, SP, you tell me what casino does that, and I'll leave the subject. And he couldn't think of anything to say, so he said, no, you just keep repeating yourself. Oh, you're boring. Oh no, that's because when people get to that point in a conversation, that means they don't have an answer. That means your idea probably is a good one, but they don't want to admit it. Okay? They don't want to admit it. So the only way they could possibly get rid of you so they don't have to answer to you is to hang up on you or act like you're the one that's becoming irritable. Anyway, so he did. He ended up, well, he didn't tell me it was the top of the hour, and he ended up hanging up on me without saying goodbye or anything. And so I called back and you're allowed to call back on that show. He lets people call back. I said, okay, Steven, I'm going to be really calm now. And immediately he started going after me about it again. So anyway, finally, that, you know, stubbornness is very obvious in people. You know, it's almost like, you know, you're a kid and your parents give you some candy and they forgot to go get the other kid candy, so they tell you to share, and the other kid goes, no, but I don't want to share. That's kind of the same, it's the kind of same feeling that I get from that SP Romney that a little brat would have, you know, a problem. Anyway, so enough of that. Oh, by the way, and a lady called up after me, and she put him through the ringer, man. She said, why don't you let that guy explain his point? It was obvious you didn't want him to say anything. It was obvious that you don't have any consideration. I mean, just like any other caller, you seem to let them talk for a long time. He goes, I gave that guy plenty of time. Yeah, he gave me plenty of time, but he didn't answer my question. What casino use auto markers? The answer is none. None. There is no such thing. It's my idea. I lived in Vegas for 21 years. I've seen a guy lost $500,000 in probably less than an hour. I've seen all kinds of people lose money in that town. And I spent a lot of my time working in casinos, as well as going through casinos to gamble. So I told him, you know, before he hung up on me anyway, I told him, you know, you don't, or after I got back on, you don't know because you don't live there. First of all, I'm older than you are. I told SP, fact is, I'm like 10 or 12 years older than him. And I have the experience in the casinos. You don't. And you don't gamble, so you wouldn't have a clue what I'm talking about. Finally, I got him to at least kind of agree to that. But see, when people are conceited with their opinion, they won't answer your question. They'll just tell you you're boring or you're repeating yourself. That's what they do to kind of throw you off and get you more upset, so that it seems like you are getting aggravated and pissed off. Anyway, past that, I'm going to call him back tonight probably. Of course, I'll use another topic. And you know, that lady that called up after me, though, she put him in his place, and she was simply angelic as far as I'm concerned, because she totally echoed my points about some people. They just don't want to listen. They'll make up any excuse not to hear your point or not to verify your point. Anyway, so another thing is homophobes. Okay, homophobes is a made-up terminology. Nobody's scared of a gay person. Nobody is scared of a gay person, okay? There's no such thing. I mean, there might be somebody that technically, you know, they don't want you to cough on them because you might have bloody gums or something. You might have AIDS. That makes sense. Doesn't mean they're scared of you. They're scared of your body fluid getting on them, okay? And that's something I don't like. You know, I've been on buses with what look like more or less probably illegal immigrants. You know, various ones, some are so, and I'll just be honest with you, some of them, I don't know what's the deal. They drink till they pee in their pants all the time, you know, and they try to get on the bus. Then there's the ones that are coughing all the time, and whenever you see them on the bus, you're like, oh, fuck no, here he is right here coughing right behind me. So the guy's coughing. What do I think? I'm thinking the guy might have tuberculosis, you know. So in a technical term, yeah, I was fucking afraid of getting that saliva on me because that motherfucker might have tuberculosis, because they don't test those guys in Mexico and before they come over. Especially, they might tell them to come over the border, might even pay them, probably do, but they're not wanting to get tuberculosis, so they'd prefer them to come over our country because they don't have the infrastructure to test all them people for tuberculosis. So anyway, another terminology though that is fake is conspiracy theorist. Okay, so conspiracy theorist is a made-up terminology from the CIA memo in 1967. You can look it up. CIA memo on conspiracy theorists. And indeed, there is a memo that says, you know, if you use this terminology, you can discredit somebody's opinion. So anytime somebody says to me, well, that's just, you're a conspiracy theorist, I totally shun them, you know, because that's a falsified terminology. It's made up. It's a way that somebody doesn't have to explain themselves. It's a way for conceited people with their opinion to, I guess in their mind, shine when they're talking to someone. Oh, well, you're a conspiracy theorist. Automatically, you know, concluding that you're nuts, basically. That's what it really means. You're nuts. And the truth is, that is a CIA coined term. All right? So anyone that uses conspiracy theorists, I don't just shun them. I probably won't ever talk to them again. That would be Friday Fred on K-Talk, 1640 a.m. on Fridays at 9 o'clock Mountain Western. And so I called him a couple more times after that, and I just finally gave up, because to me that's a shill. A shill is somebody who sits at a blackjack table and sits towards the end or in the front, and they try to purposely pick cards and do things to the cards that are naturally coming out as you're winning, so that they can change it to where you get unlucky and you lose. That's what a shill is. And that's what people that use conspiracy theorists are kind of doing. They're trying to fuck up your opinion by calling you a conspiracy theorist. But the truth is, you don't fucking ruin me, because your opinion is your opinion. If you don't like someone's opinion, you don't call them a conspiracy theorist. You just say you're entitled to your opinion. I disagree. And that's the kind way of saying, you know, I don't believe you, or I'm skeptical about your opinion. But really, yeah, just conspiracy theorists. All that means is I automatically devour your comments because you're nuts. And in reality, that's a CIA memo, 1967, the word conspiracy theorists, the two words, rather. But if you say conspiracy by itself, you can use it in many different ways, and it doesn't discredit anyone. You know, theorist, you call somebody a theorist, that's not going to hurt anyone's feelings, right? So anyway, I just want to get this video out, guys, because I know a lot of people think that homophobe means people are scared of queers, and we're not. We're not scared of you, man. Of course, once in a while, there's some big freaking queer that looks like he can fucking choke you out really quick, and you know, he's trying to push you off the sidewalk with his boyfriend as they're walking down. You just simply get out of the way. You know, it doesn't mean you're scared of him. It means you're being polite. All right, guys, later.